guys, this is Harry Jacobs, and I am the North of 60 Gamer, and this is the North of 60 Gaming channel. I want to welcome you to Tuesday's edition of Coffee and Kickstarters. It is May 25th, 2021. The sun is up almost all day, and it's time to play and look at games. We have two things going on today. The first topic being a new player's guide to getting into board gaming, and the second, of course, is Kickstarter. So let's kick this off with a bit of discussion about, you're new to the hobby, how can I help you? Today, I wanted to cover a fairly interesting topic for you. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about is, so you want to get into board games. So you're new, you've never played a board game, or perhaps you are very at the start of your journey and just looking for a few questions to be answered around, what do I do? What kind of steps can I take? And the first question I think I want to tackle is, what are modern board games and tabletop gamings like? So back in around the 1990s, a game called Agricola kind of changed the way we looked at games. This was a Euro-style worker placement that moved away from the typical classic Milton Bradley, where you rolled dice, it was random, you moved along a railway track. Don't get me wrong, those aren't the only games that were out there, but those were the classics. A lot of them there were a lot of strategy games that were very niche, but it wasn't really brought into the modern market. You know, there were a lot of geeks and nerds who would play those games, but it's not till Agricola hit when all of a sudden the popularity of games went whoosh, right up, and that's where the modern age of board gaming began. So there's a big range of games today. They are from fillers, what I call fillers, which are those lightweight games, offer not a lot of complexity, easy to learn, fun to play, quick to learn, and great to get to the table. A couple of them I played recently, Century Spice Road and Lockup. We'll talk a few more about some of the other filler games a little bit later on in this. Then there's more advanced games and heavy worker placement games where you're going to spend 4 hours playing a game. A typical game might be Lisboa by Vito Lasarda. His games tend to be very heavy. This is about around the mid-1500s when Portugal was hit with a big earthquake, and you have to rebuild the city with the nobility and export and import goods and place workers and rebuild businesses in the downtown core. Or Twilight Imperium, which is a 4X game where you explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. And this is an 8-hour game. There's other games that don't take long, like 2-hour games where they're a little medium weight. They're like Stone Age, perhaps, or other worker placement games that come to mind are so medium weight games like Raiders of the North Sea or Architects of the Western Kingdom or Paladins. All these types of games are out there, medium weight games that sort of build on what fillers bring to the table and build you up till you can play a heavier game. My recommendation is always start, if you're new to this, is look for those filler games that have mechanics that you can build upon as you get more into the hobby so that you can handle heavier games because they are rules heavy and often mechanical heavy. Where do you buy your local games? So depending on where you live. Now, I live in a remote area. We do have a local gaming store, which we commonly refer to as an LGS. The board gaming is a $20 billion a year industry. You can find them in big box stores like Walmart, Target, limited and usually family editions, but you can find the odd game there. I see them on websites where people said, I found this game in Target. You can also find them in big box stores like at Chapters or Chapters Indigo or Barnes & Noble. Hobby shops that are specific to just hobbies in general. Specialty stores that cater specifically to board games. These are often called local gaming stores, or LGSs for short. There's gaming cafes where you can try a game before you buy it, and you can often buy the games you play. I highly recommend either a gaming cafe or going into a local gaming store, having those conversations with the people around you, the staff. They're very friendly in helping you find a game that would be good for your collection or just good for you to play. as well as there are online stores. I buy my games at typically at 401 Games in Canada or the Imaginarium out of Quebec City. There are Game Found and Meeple Mart and all types of stores in the US, but that's where you buy them. You can start looking at there. The question, though, after that is this an expensive hobby? It is what you put into it. It can be very lightweight, where you can buy games in that $20 to $100 range and get some really good games, in that $50, $60 mark, and you can buy a couple of games. Or you can splurge. I have seen games on Kickstarter that cost hundreds, if not thousands, when you start going all in and get all the miniatures and all the packs and all the dice and all the playmats. It can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. It can be just as easy as I'm going to go out and buy a game for $50 and I've got a game. If you start to collect, it could get expensive, especially when you start looking for games that have been out there for a while and you're going, I want this game, because the secondary market can be very fiddly in the terms of prices of the game. So just beware of, secondary market, and you can get secondary market at Board Game Geek, Board Game Co., and Noble Knights. These are all places where you can buy used games. Just beware of what you're getting and what you're buying into. They're often not that much cheaper than a new game, depending on what you're getting at and what you're looking for. So it's buyer beware. Now, where can I play? Where can I play games, and how do I get friends or strangers to play? That's an interesting question. Well, you can always try to look for a board gaming group in your area. Sometimes there's clubs, like we have Ptarmigan Game Nights up here, which is a bi-weekly club that did meet up until COVID, and hopefully at some point we are going to meet again. Sometimes there's local stores that your LGS, you can go and play a game. They have tables. Some of the big ones do. Some of the smaller ones don't. You can go to a board game cafe, see if there's some open tables that you can play with. Sometimes they have board gaming nights where you could just go in and pick up a game and play with people and strangers, make new friends, or just invite somebody over who you know might be interested in a game. Carcassonne is a tile-laying game, perfect, like dominoes. Oh, you put this on, match this, play for the 90 minutes, and the winner with the most victory points wins. Something that's easy, something that you really don't have to spend a lot of time explaining how to play. We talked about some of the best games. Carcassonne is a tile-laying game, very, very easy to play. I taught my 8-year-old granddaughter how to play Carcassonne, and we bought the Safari version. Splendor, yeah, that's a nice little gem manipulation game. You can play it on Board Game Arena to try it out. It's about $40 to $50, depending on where you buy it. A very easy filler game. Ticket to Ride, build railways. There's a lot of incarnations of this particular game. Basically, you're going to pick up cards. When you have some matching cards, you'll put out your railways along the matching railways. Again, victory points when you fulfill a contract. King Domino, another placement game. Pandemic. Some people might call that medium weight. You work together in a co-op to solve a pandemic. Typically, that game has a high degree of thinking and talking and strategizing about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, but it's a lot of fun in a group. And then a very easy game is Seven Wonders. Building a civilization from the ground up, collecting cards and drafting cards, building that civilization up. These are all great games that you can start with. Lastly, where do I find more information of games? Well, certainly my channel, North of 60 Gaming, is a good place. Board Game Geek is probably one of the biggest. You can go to Board Game Geek and look up a particular game. There's forums. It's maybe not the best place if you don't know a lot about gaming, but once you get a little bit more into it, you can look up a game and say, what are they saying about that game? Then you can look at videos. Dice Tower is a great place for reviews, and they have top 10s and often have games that you can look at and watch them play. One Stop Co-op, if you're into cooperatives and solo gaming. Rado, he is one of the best. He's a lot of fun to watch. It's a little frantic. He goes over the rules. He plays basically some solo, some two-handed solo, where he pretends he's against his wife, and sometimes his wife even joins him. Alex Radcliffe, he's amazing. He talks about the value of the games, but he also reviews them and does previews and talks about the value of the games. Should I buy this game based on the value that it's going to give me if I want to sell it later? And of course, Facebook. Board Game Revolution is one of the best. It is 40,000 members strong at the moment. Go on, join up, ask questions. If you'd like to think about solo gaming, they have Board Games for One. And there are great folks out there that are willing to help. And we talk a lot about solo games. I hang out on most of these spots. Of course, on Board Game Revolution, Board Game Ones, there's solo players, there's board gamers, all types, everything board games is out there. So you can find people who play games. But I just wanted to just touch base, sort of give you a flavor of how do you get into board gaming, some places where you can look, a few resources. And I hope you enjoyed that. I really do want you to play and feel like this is an inclusive community no matter where you go. I've been to Denmark. I've been to board games in Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Halifax, Vancouver, England. And all these places are instant communities. I'm a board gamer. Woohoo! There's a table. Come play. So it is a great inclusive club that you can feel a part of. And I hope you will do that. I hope you will become part of that club. If you enjoy these types of things, I would ask you to like this video, perhaps subscribe, because I'm trying to get more into these tips and tricks and help you get into the gaming. And of course, if you want notifications, hit the bell. Now, the second part, of course, is I'm going to review some Kickstarters. So that's what's coming up next. This is Coffee and Kickstarter. Again, I have my green mug in front of a green screen. Whoop, there it is. There it goes. There it is. So I welcome you to Coffee and Kickstarter. Let's talk about Kickstarters. Well, here we are at Kickstarter. I have to say that I am going to be a bit late. This is Wednesday and not Tuesday. So if you see the beginning and it says Tuesday and you're going, why is it Wednesday? I have just been so busy that I have not been able to do the Kickstarter bit of this portion at the time I wanted to do it. So let's get started real quick. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Kickstarters that sort of interest me, and I wanted to bring them forward to you. The first being Ironsworn Starforged. Now, this is a tabletop RPG. Now, generally, I do not look at tabletop RPGs, but this one looked interesting. In fact, it's one of 2 tabletop RPGs that we're looking at today. And as you can see, it's already raised $393,000, coming up to $394,000, and 6,300 backers. Basically, this is a spacefaring RPG of some sort. They've got, looks like they're going to have some web-based stuff coming around with it, maps, and there's a book. Now, I don't know much, the basics, launching your campaign. So this is an RPG, so it'll be RPG rules. But it does look like it's going to come with a solo type gaming that will allow you to play by yourself as a lone starfaring person going through the world. And it looks like it offers up all the good start. There's some art. I love the art here right now. There's 3 ways to play it. You can be guided, where one or more players takes on the role of their characters while a guide moderates the session. There's cooperative, and of course, solo. And a guide is not required in the co-op and solo mode. This is what intrigues me, and you can see this takes, I have Legends of Dragonholt, and this sort of takes it to maybe another level, maybe. So I'm very interested in what this has to offer. I may back this. It's not particularly expensive. If we look down here, it's $68 for the deluxe bundle, which gives you a printed deck, wire-bound reference cards. They give you some PDFs. The shipping information to Canada is $20 to $25, which is a bit hefty for US. 25 about $30, so it makes this about $100. I'm just going to consider it. Again, tabletop RPGs are not kind of what I typically look at nor play, but it is of interest, and I thought I'd just bring this around and have you take a look at it. If it's something you like, please take a look at it. It has already funded. This is his first creation, Tompkin Press. Next up, Space Kracken by Marcus Geiger. This is another, he's had 7 creations so far, and this is another space-type game, tabletop role-playing game. He calls it a dungeon crawler, 1 to 4 players, 45 minutes. Everything's in a book, a single book. It's a story, the story in short. What is it? We have a genetically modified kraken intended to cleanse Earth's oceans, but I fear that it's probably going to go awry, and you're going to need to do something about it. So this is a new engine, a CGM engine. There's an early bird special. You got the closed core book rules section. There we are. These are the different stuff in the books. There's obviously your typical sheets, maps, combat sheets. I don't know enough about tabletop role-playing games, but this looks pretty good. I was hoping to get a look at this early on, and unfortunately, he did not have enough copies of the game to send out to a small content creator. I just bring it forward. I've saved it. I think it's interesting. I don't think it's a lot of money. You can get a digital edition for 19 euros, 39 for the standard, and 69 for the deluxe, which is about $100, which seems to be where these games come in, $100. The shipping for it there's some add-ons too. What is the shipping? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, here we are. Shipping to Canada, 15 euros. So about $20 to $25. So it's $125 for this system. Again, I'm not 100% sure that tabletop role-playing is where I want to go in my collection, but it sounds very, very interesting. And so have a look if this is your gig, and we're going to move on to the Blue Collection, which I was hoping to be at the top of the page. I thought I checked this. Apparently not. Just looks like 8-bit games almost. So there's 3 games: Cyber Doom Tower, insert coin to play, and 1-card dungeon. It is already back $23,000 for the 6,560 backers. It just looked a little interesting. I'm not too turned on by the artwork, but I'm kind of intrigued by these small box games. There's insert coin. It looks like there's a game sheet pad. Cyber Doom Tower. Very 8-bit looking. And there's a bit about how to play. You insert the coin, you shuffle your cards, chooses and draws the shapes of the cards. Okay, this probably is not my kind of jam. But you can play free on Tabletopia, which is good. You can get the rules to play. So it sounds like, it looks like it's a pretty decent guide. The one I really like is this 1-card dungeon. I love these little dungeon crawlers. Again, on Tabletopia, we've got some reviews. This is the kind of stuff that it's niche-y, and we're going to give away some t-shirts if you want to pay for them. Not give away, but pay. What is shipping to Canada? 20 euros to Canada. Let's take a look at the price of the game itself. The 3-in-1 bundle, the whole bundle all in, 40 euros. This kind of is my rule, that I don't typically back games in which 50% of the cost is shipping. This is European. This is always the case. So this is probably the deal breaker for me. But again, if this is your jam, guys, or if this is what you like, folks, go for it. And congratulations for funding. Catharsis, a board game for 1 to 4 players. It just tripped over. There's 26 days to go. I have saved it. It's a true solo or cooperative games, 8 playable characters, 8 boss decks. What's in the box? Player decks, morale sheets, 400 cards, 8 boss cards. Looks like it's a card-based game of some sort. I'm just trying to get down. Uniquely printed dice. Oh, here we are. So we have Immortal tier at 54, Sage tier at 69, and the Angel tier at 129, where you get art and T-shirts. I am never swayed by art and T-shirts. So if I was to look at this, it'd probably be the Sage tier at $69, which is the game. Let's just see. I don't know if there's any stretch goals here. Oh, God tier. Oh, there's when they offer all kinds of things. We have a number of stretch goals. We have some add-ons, playmats, T-shirts, journals. Don't have a lot in the way of looks like videos at this point. Choose a boss. Obviously, you're going to track your morale. You're going to have special abilities, events, it looks like. Looks like here's your characters. Shipping is $25 for $69. That's not bad. So it makes it about a $100 game. Now let's just take a look. Is this a first-time creator? It is a first-time creator. Congratulations on backing to Cyber Wizard Games. I think game is worth a look. I've saved it. I'm not totally convinced that this is where my dollars are going to get spent. I am limited, and therefore, but I do want to bring these first-time creators and smaller games to you, my community, because I feel that they often get overshadowed by these big, huge games that come out. And I want to point these out to you that they're out here. There's some good games that look like they're being created by small one-time publishers or small up-and-coming publishers that require some attention and love. Here's a game I brought up only because the campaign is not look like it's going to go anywhere. It's only $6,000. I am not turned on by the art player. It is a solo player game, plays in 15 to 30 minutes. I find this hard to read. As a fledgling adventurer, you set off on a journey to explore a vast world of Baydia. Unclaimed treasures. What's in the box? Looks like we got a dungeon, single-sided instruction. Again, this is not really turning me on. I think there are games that do it better, like One Deck Dungeon. No, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. It's 25 pounds for this particular game. This is not a $45 game whatsoever. Risks and challenges. He doesn't even talk about shipping. He's going to do it himself. So that kind of scares me. Again, folks, I'm not going to dissuade you from backing this project. It is a first-time backer. Snoop Games is the publisher. Dungeons of Baydia. There's nothing here that attracts me to this particular game at this time. I think that if it doesn't fund, I hope he comes back with maybe something a little bit better in terms of what he's doing here on the page to attract me to get my money. But right now, I'm just bringing this up to say, again, it is a first-time creator. I want to promote these first-time creators. Have a look at this site. Determine whether it's for you or not. I can't make that decision for you. I can only make it for myself. Okay, here's a nice one. Paris. Wolfgang Kramer, Michael Kessling, Game Brewers. They've created a number of games. This is an expansion for Paris. This game looks really good. It's some kind of game in which you're going to build out Paris. I guess the Paris goes through a period known as La Belle Époque. The architecture of Paris created during this period ranged from Beaux Arts, Neo-Byzantine, Neo-Gothic. So we're going to purchase some magnificent Parisian buildings in order to make a profit, invest in the development and upkeep of Paris. This sounds to me like probably a game that most people would want to back. It looks absolutely sweet. I'm looking at this. The only thing that turns me off is I don't like player screens. I don't like these hidden ideas of hiding things from other players. I'm not just saying that I may or may not back this, but the components look great. There's lots of add-ons. It tells you how to play. You got rule books. It's on Tabletopia. Radio covered it. Man versus Meeple. It looks like we've got Paul Grogan. This campaign is a wonderful campaign in my mind. I don't know what the shipping is. I think the shipping to Canada, which I can barely read this. I'm just going to have to come in close. Big Box Deluxe, which is probably what I would have to go to get the game, is probably going to be $29. What is that? We have $99 for the big box. Perfectly reasonable. I think if I was to back one big game, I'm thinking that this probably might be the game that I would back in June. There are 22 days to go, so I have time to make that decision. As you can see, it's saved. This one intrigued me. I'm not backing this just because I have no interest in sort of building this type of stuff up. It's more of a puzzle than a game. They're calling it a puzzle game. You can see it's almost at $1 million Canadian, which is amazing. Over $5,000 backer. This looks like you're going to build circuit boards or gadgets. There's Act 1 and Act 2, so there's two portions. You'll never see electronics the same way again. The power pack, so you're going to get some more stuff, 10 additional puzzles. You get these moving parts. This is intriguing, kind of like Mousetrap on steroids where you build gadgets. For those mechanically inclined, this looks absolutely freaking amazing. Has a steampunk feel to it. Something totally unusual. I think that, if this interests you, you should back this. Obviously, you get Act 1, it's 75. Get both acts together, 135. You get the power pack, 160. The Gigavolt, 220. And then, the educational, 760. Tumble touring. Touring tumble. Oh, this is like a touring machine. Oh, my gosh. Guys, if I had $220, I would plunk that down right now. I don't have any issues with this. I'm intrigued. Let's just see what the shipping is. Pretty hefty. Once you get up to the Gigavolt, $26. That's not bad for $120, $160 layout. I can't say enough about this. This was absolutely cool. Folks, I hope you do look at this and back this particular game. And I have nothing here else to go for today. Like always, if you like what you see and enjoy this kind of breakneck overview, it's not in depth. It's just, what am I looking at? What am I considering? What am I skipping? Please like the video. If you consider subscribing, I just want to help you make some decisions in your life about gaming and help you game. And maybe if you like notifications because you want to see more of this type of stuff, please feel free to notify. Reach out to me in the comments. You can find me hanging around Board Game Revolution, Board Games for One, Solo Players at Facebook. You can put notes in the comments. Please reach out, say hi. I am here for you. Thank you very much. We will see you next week on Coffee. You can see it's a different mug because it's a different day. And Kickstarter. Thank you for being here.